Hi guys, it's Blackie and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to answer a question that one of the followers had on the Kukri. And my Kukri, as I'm kind of known for, is this one that I've had for God knows how many years. It is a Gurkha house or Kukri house. It is a panel wall, which means it has a full tang. It had pins in it, which I replaced at one point. This is a cap that goes over the rat tail right there, but this is actual two sides. And I took the grips off. It had hollow pieces of tubing through it, and the holes that had been punched into the actual frame were made by a blacksmith with a punch and didn't match the tubing, so it was a little loose. And so not long after I got it, I replaced those, and those are black walnut dowels is what it is. So I put a really good, I used pine sap. I made pine sap glue sticks, and I applied a heavy layer of that on there, put the grips onto there, and then I smeared it onto those things and tapped it in. And so that's what you're seeing. They said, Blackie, how's your attach? That's what it is. It's actually black walnut dowels going through, but besides that, it's never failed me from it. Now, the question was maintenance. Okay, my sheath was a plain black sheath. The sheaths that traditionally come on are not great quality. They don't have good leather in that part of the world. Certainly not leather you could afford to use in a knife sheath. And so you want, America, we're kind of spoiled. We've got heavy cows, and so we got a lot of it, but they don't eat cows in India, and this was made in Nepal. And so up in those areas, they don't have a lot of cows and a lot of leather. And so it's really, really thin, and it's over a wooden frame. Now what I did was, you can see there, this is actually a piece of just heavy canvas that I had that's actually from an old shooting jacket of mine. Hunting vest, and I just simply sewed it onto the actual sheath, put a little bit of glue on it, sewed it on there nice and tight, and then I put a panel over the back to cover my stitches up, and then you can see it's frayed out a little bit, but it's lasted God knows how many years like this. And then the frog, this part's called the frog, was a little bit too small, so I split it and just punched holes and put lacing on it. That's how I did it. Okay, that left room for me to be able to slide a file into that hollow back there, so I carry a file on it all the time, and I still got access to my two little blades. Now you have one that is a square blade. This is a flint striker is what it is. It's 4 90-degree edges, and it's meant to be a flint striker for a ferrocerium rod. It's also super hard, like an 80, and is therefore used in the sharpening of the knife, so that if the edge starts to roll one way or the other and you run your finger up here and you feel a burr, you can actually bear down and push it, and this is physically harder than that. And so this would cut that, okay? So you can bear down and kind of lean it back over or keep it from rolling. Okay, that's what that's for. It also can be used as a little awl. Also in there is a little bitty knife that I have sharpened. They don't come sharp, but I have reground it where it's got a pretty good edge on it. For if this is the only thing I had, I would have a small blade for small detail work. Okay, that's what those are. Yes, I have used them. Okay, let me hang my sheath out of the way now. Okay, coming to the Kukri itself. What do you recommend for sharpening, Blackie? I carry a file, and I usually will take that small file, I will come up to a tree, I will stick the point into the tree, I will then usually pad up here with something like a shemagh or something like that to hold against it, holding right there, and I will take a file and I will sharpen, turning it over and change hands. I will sharpen it. Another great way, and a way I've been doing here recently, is one of these pucks. Now I know it is made in the USA. I bought it at Blade Show. So that's all I can tell you. I'm sorry. But it has a coarse and a fine. This is a great, these pucks are great. for axes, large things, machetes, etc. Work really, really well. You just got to remember, keep your dang finger back. Don't do like that. Put them up here. If you stick it up there, you're going to get a mark on you. Okay? Again, stick it up there, put it up there, and start in circular motions at the right angle. And you can see what you're sanding on the actual edge. So you just want to brighten it like 1/8 of an inch from that edge right there. But doing this is too flippity. Stick it in something so it's stationary. And do like that. You can also go lengthways to sand. But I like to do little circular motions and then go into lengthways a minute to change direction and go back into length. So I'm circulating to me, lengthways. I'm circulating away from me. So those scratch marks go in different directions. Okay? To get the tip up here, I'm going to take it up like that, turn it edge up, and do it like that to get the tip. Okay? To get the very tip, choke it up like this, put it on the chest, and do like that. The tip on my kukri is dull, butter dull right there. In fact, you can look close, you can see the edge. Because this is a digging implement. And so that last 1/4 inch right there, well, last inch of that tip is for digging. That's for me to use whenever I'm coming in and I'm having to hit that dirty whatever that's going to dull something. It's going to be that last inch. Whack. I'm not going to hit it with the good edge. Now, the edges of a kukri. I have spoken to this in my practical field guide to the kukri. This first section right here is like a razor. That's my knife edge. Okay. This section right here is my draw knife edge. This section right here is my primary chopping edge. And then this section right here is not as sharp as this section. This is the blunt impact section. So this is my splitting section. So if I'm going to split, I hit here. If I'm wanting to bite deep, I hit here. If I'm draw filing, it's going to be right here or right there, depending on the need. If I've got to use this as a knife and cut, I'm going to do it right there. Now, once you've got your kukri sharp, how do you keep it from rusting? Now, this is a spring steel. It's a tool steel. These are typically made in Nepal from the leaf springs of Mercedes-Benz cars. Is one of the most common sources of it. So it's a leaf spring tool. And the way they harden it, which is different from our American way of looking at it, is the edge is extremely hard. A lot of times most files will kind of skid on it rather than biting it. It's almost as hard as a file. So that notch right there keeps it from cracking and breaking. Yes, it has religious significance and all that, but it's a stress relief cut. Because the back of this is a 25. So don't think you're going to put me a 90-degree edge right there and it'll bring sparks. This sucker is dead soft on the back of it. It's a hardness of 25 on the back and like a 70 on the tip, on the edge. It allows it to flex. It's a spring, okay? But it will rust. So what do you use to keep it from rusting? Fixing wax. I just simply take fixing wax. I get me a little bitty rag. Come up, stab it into something. Get me some on there and bear down and kind of polish it with it. Now if it's particularly dirty or whatever, wash it and take a little bit of steel wool and just buff it up. Not trying to really shine it, just make sure there's no surface corrosion on it, okay? And then apply the fixing wax. That's all you got to do. This does 2 things, actually 3. 1, applying fixing wax to it, fixing wax, will make it where it's not going to rust. 2, on impact with the wood, it's not going to bind as much because it acts like lubrication. It will slide deeper into the wood. 3, going in and out of the sheath makes it easier to go in and out of the sheath. Now, let us finally at the end here discuss putting a kukri in and out of the sheath. What maintenance do you do to the sheath, Blackie? Little or none. I keep it in good order. That's one of the reasons I covered it in this canvas instead of that black paper thin leather to keep the wood. I try to protect it. When I took it apart originally to do this, I finished the wood inside, which normally isn't finished and looks like they took it out of a pallet. So I sanded it down, I put me some good Danish oil into it, and I waxed and sealed it up. Now I've coated this with fixing wax. Do not ever take a kukri in and out like this. Grip it and shove it in this way. You see where my hand is and you see where those fingers are? That edge right there is just simply two pieces of wood to come together like that, and there's a little bit of glue. That's it. That kukri will slice right through that if you do it wrong. And guess what's on the other side? Your fingers. My godson, Matthew Batchelor, has a scar across his hand, and they had to do surgery to fix it, where he gripped that thing and somebody pulled his kukri and they sliced out. So, you always palm it like this so your fingers are not past that point. Even when I got it on me, I'll reach down here and grab it that way and pull it out, okay, and pull them fingers back. Now you put it in and you go see how this part goes in straight. When you feel it start to bind, you kind of push that way and it goes in. So up and then tip out. That's it. So come up, you'll feel it bind. When it binds, tip this way and it slides right out. It's like a tube. Go in straight. Then when it starts to bind, tip back, down. It's like stick shift. Come up, pull it into second. Put in, go back to first. That's all you got to know. But by putting fixing wax on here, it makes it go in and out of the sheath a whole lot easier. Okay? It'll come down, but see how it binds? It won't fall out. And that's the way they design it that way. Hope you've enjoyed this, guys. If you have, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. Till next time, guys, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.